So today we are going to talk about factors. So what you are going to need for this video, I need you to get a piece of paper or a whiteboard or something to write on, and then a pencil or something to write with. So if you need to pause the video while you go get materials, this will be an interactive lesson because I think it's the easiest way to teach this concept. So if you need to pause to go get your materials, you can do that. When you come back, just play the video again. There will be a lot of pausing while you work and then playing to check your work throughout this video. So we've learned that multiples, we really think about the word multiply. So if we want the multiples, if I say I want the first 5 multiples of the number 7, it's really just skip counting by that number. So my first 5 multiples of the number 7 would be 7, 14, 21, 28, 25. So we've done multiples. That's finding, you think you multiply by 7 to get you your multiples. Today, we are talking about factors. I'm going to write it so you can see what the word looks like written out. So we're going to talk about factors. So a lot of times factors and multiples go together, but they're not, and they're kind of like cousins. They work together, but they're not the same thing. They're in the same family, but they're not the same thing. So if multiples are something we multiply a number by to get, a factor is we're going to break that multiple down. Sorry, guys. I didn't realize that was turned on. A factor is something we're going to break a multiple down to get. So I'm going to start out with an easy number. We're going to start out with the number 10. So I want you to, on the top of your, somewhere on your paper or on your whiteboard, write a 10. So 10 could be a multiple of 1. I can multiply 1 times 10 to get 10. 10 can be a multiple of 2. I can do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. It's my 5th multiple. 10 cannot be a multiple of 3 because I can't multiply 3 by anything to get 10. 10 can't be a multiple of 4 because I can't multiply 4 by anything to get 10. 10 is a multiple of 5. 5, 10, it's the 2nd multiple. And 10 is a multiple of 10. It's the first one. To find my factors, we're going to do kind of what we just did when we were talking about what 10 is a multiple of. Factors are numbers you can multiply by something else to give you this number. There is a specific process to finding out our factors to help make sure we don't forget any. We're going to make it's called a factor rainbow. So anytime you start out finding the factors of a number, you always start with the number 1. Because no matter what the number is, it's always going to have 2 factors. It's always going to have the number 1 and itself, whatever that number is. Because I can always multiply. That multiplication property of 1 that we learned about before Christmas tells me that every number has at least 2 factors, 1 and itself. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect it. Because my factor pair for 10, a factor pair I have for 10 is 1 and 10. Then here's the next step. So we always start with 1 in itself because there's not going to be any factor smaller than 1 that I can multiply by something to give me a 10. And there's not going to be any factor larger than 10 that I can multiply by something to give me 10. Now I'm going to start at my 1 and I'm going to count up. Well, what number comes after 1? 2. Is 2 a factor of 10? Sure it is. So I'm going to write 2 here next to my 1. And then I have to think, what do I multiply by 2 to give me 10? What number is going to go right here? Go ahead and write that on your paper. What 2 times what equals 10? We know that it's 2 times 5. So I can connect that. So there's another factor pair. 2 and 5 are a factor pair for 10. Now I'm going to try out 3 because 3 would come after my 2. I know that I can't multiply. There's nothing. 3 times no other whole number gives me 10. So 3 is not a factor. Then I go to 4. I can't multiply 4 by anything to give me 10. And now I'm back at 5, which I already have written down, which means I have found all my factors. So when I'm writing my factor pairs, I have 1 and 10 and 2 and 5. Those are factor pairs. Those are sets of numbers I can multiply together to give me 10. So if you were to be asked to list the factors for 10, you have 1, 2, 5, and 10. We're going to try another number. We're going to try the number, let's try the number 15. So write 15 on your paper. I want you to go ahead and write down that first factor pair that starts off, that goes on either side, because it's one that every single number has this factor pair. See if you remember what that one was and write it down. Whenever I start going on, if you're not ready, so I'm getting ready to do it, if you're not there yet, just pause, catch up, and play the video when you're ready. So I know that 1 is always my smallest factor. There's nothing less than 1 that I can multiply to get 15. And whatever number I'm looking at is always my largest factor. So 1 and 15 are my first factor pair. Now I'm going to try 2. There's nothing I can multiply 2 by to give me 15. 3. Can I multiply 3 times something to give me 15? I think I can. So I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 here. I want you to complete the rainbow. What goes at the other end of that rainbow with a 3? What is 3's factor pair to give you 15? 3 times what equals 15? 3 times 5 equals 15. So my next factor pair I have is 3 and 5. So now I've got to see if there's any more between the numbers of 3 and 5. Well, the only number between 3 and 5 is 4. 4 is not a factor of 15. So my factors of 15, my factor pairs are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. So 15 has 4 factors. What if we try the number... What if we try the number 9? This one's a little tricky. Go ahead and do your first factor pair that you know you always start your factor rainbow out with. So your first one that you just wrote, you should have made a factor rainbow with a 1 and a 9. So that means my first factor pair is 1 and 9. Now I'm going to try 2. 2 times, well I know 2 times 4 is 8, and 2 times 5 is 10. So there's nothing I can do. I can't do 2 times any whole number to give me 9. But what about 3? 3 times what equals 9? 3 times 3, well that's tricky because it's the same number. So when you do that, your little rainbow just goes to itself. 3 times 3. And once you find that, that means there's nothing in between 3. I've done 2, I can't do it, there's 3. That means 3 would go here and here, but since it's the same number, we don't write it twice because that means that my factors for 9 are 1, 3, and 9. Now I'm going to give you one that has a lot of factors. And I'm going to see if you can figure out all of its factor pairs. The number you're doing is 24. You are going to have 4 factor pairs. So you're going to have a rainbow that has 4 humps on it. 4 factor pairs, a total of 8 factors. I want you to pause the video and see if you can find all 4 factor pairs and all 8 factors. So go ahead and pause the video while you work and see if you can find all of those factors. Okay, so we know you should have definitely, we always start out with 1 and 24, always. Now I'm going to try 2. 2 times what equals 24? I know 24 is a multiple of 2. It is 2 times 12. So I've got 1 and 24. I've got 2 and 12. Can I multiply 3 by anything to give me 24? 3 times what? 3 times 8 is 24. So I've added another hump to my rainbow. I've got one more. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I do 4 times anything to give me 24? 4 times... 4 times 6 equals 24. The only number that I have left between 4 and 6 is 5, and I know I can't multiply 5 by anything to give me 24. So my factor pairs for 24 are 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6. If I just want to list my factors in order from least to greatest, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, 24. So this number has a lot of factors. Now we're going to look at the number 31. I want you to see how many factor pairs you can get. How many numbers can you get to multiply together to give you 31? Pause the video, see how many you can get. Remember, you're always going to have one factor pair, so start out with that one. See if you can find any more. Go ahead and pause it and press play when you're finished, when you think you've got them all. Okay, so you should have started out the way we always start out. You should have started out with 1 and 31. So you've done 1 and 31. Now 2. Can I add 2 times what equals 31? I can't do 2 times anything. I can't multiply 3 by anything to get me 41. I can't do 4 times anything to get 31. I know 4 times 8 is 32, but not 31. 5, definitely not, because any multiple of 5 is going to end in a 0 or a 5, so I know that's not it. Not 6, because 6 times 5 is 30, so we're not there. Not 7, not 8, not 9. I can't multiply 10 by anything to give me 31. I can't multiply 11 by anything to get me 31. I can't multiply 12 by anything, 13, 14, 15. There is nothing else I can multiply to get 31 except for 1 and 31. So 31 just has 2 factors. It just has one factor pair of 1 and 31, with 1 and 31 being its 2 factors. So some numbers, and we're going to talk about that in another video coming up, some numbers only have one factor pair. Their only 2 factors are 1 and the number itself. So you are going to have some practice finding factors, finding factor pairs, listing factors. Just go really slow and don't forget your rainbow and that you're at the bottom of your rainbow. So I'll go ahead and real quick, I'll do the one for 12. You can pause the video and you can do the factor rainbow for 12. I have 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4, but I counted. I tried 1, I tried 2, I tried 3. Well, then I'm already at 4, so there's nothing else between 3 and 4, so those are all my factors. You've got to count for any numbers in between your smallest hump to see if you can find any more. So you're going to practice finding factors, and then we're going to work some more with factors in another lesson.